Good afternoon and welcome to the Subcommittee of the House Judiciary Committee. We'll go ahead and get started. This is the first one of our subcommittee meetings, so just to let the committee members know the order that we'll do to begin with in mind. I think these two bills that we have today are going to be in shape to vote, so let's plan to make a decision today and vote. And if you will, please announce the Legislative Council number on the version of the bill, and we are going to be passing the bill to the House Judiciary Committee, not to the Rules Committee, just because this is our first subcommittee meeting, just to know what we're doing today. So with that being said, we have our chairman of the committee, Chairman Judge Stan Gunter, who has a bill pertaining to court reporters, House Bill 176. So Chairman Gunter, tell us about this bill.
All right, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Yeah, it's funny now. I've been labeled as judge. Nobody knows my name. It's just judge. So, thank you. This is House Bill 176. At the request of the Council of Superior Court judges, they asked for an increase in the pay for expenses, travel and otherwise, for court reporters across the state. And basically what they did was they doubled the amounts. And it's been 30 years, I believe, since the last time that they got anything. So this is, I think, way overdue. And I don't think it's going to be that big a burden. They've asked for the money in the budget. I think it's around almost $500,000 to cover this increase in the expense pay for court reporters. I think it's a great bill. I'm hearing, because when I was a judge, it wasn't that bad a problem, but I'm hearing that they're having trouble keeping court reporters or getting court reporters to work in the state now. So this is something, hopefully it'll give them some incentive to want to come to work.
Mr. Chairman, did you bring a witness today in support of the bill?
I did,
right.
Just so that he can talk more about the origins and the calculation and all that stuff on the amounts.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman, members of the subcommittee. I'm Shannon Weathers. I'm the Executive Director of the Council of Superior Court Judges. Sorry, I may not be close enough to the microphone. I have with me today my President-elect, Judge John Morse of the Eastern Judicial Circuit. Thank you for accommodating us with the order of the hearing today as well. I heard Chairman Gunter, who I actually called judge, to his secretary a few minutes ago. Old habits die hard. But as Chairman Gunter said, we're seeking to double the contingent expense and travel allowance for our court reporters. Official court reporters are not state employees. This is the state money they receive through our budget. And as Chairman Gunter said, it has not been increased since at least 1993. In looking at the 1993 bill, I can't actually tell you what happened in '81 because I've not been able to find it. But 1993 struck the previous version in its entirety and replaced it with these values you see today. The reason we have suggested doubling it is in looking at the inflation calculator, the spending power of $380, which is the highest of these allowances. By the way, the allowances are based on the number of counties in each judicial circuit. It's roughly, it would have the purchasing power back then would be about $779 today. Since it was simpler just to double it, and doubling it was slightly less than the inflation calculator, that's what we elected to do. As Chairman Gunter said, it is in our FY24 budget request as well.
And Chairman Gunter, Terry Rogers is the Georgia Court Reporters representative. Did he have any comments about the bill?
Just before the meeting, said he couldn't be here, but wanted to let me know that the court reporters that he represents, their organization, and that they're definitely in favor of this bill.
Thank you. Any questions from committee members? Representative Kelly.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I know you said it's built into y'all's 2024 budget request.
It is.
You said, do we have any idea whether the appropriations chairman is going to be favorable to that request, or are we still kind of holding to that?
I do not know. I will say so far we have not heard negative feedback, but I have to admit to you that I haven't heard feedback from the Appropriations Committee on the request yet. We will, however, be presenting our FY24 budget to our Appropriations Subcommittee on Valentine's Day on February 14th.
I hope it's a sweet one for y'all then.
I hope so too. It seems to be a legislative tradition here to have an appropriations hearing of some sort on that day. So,
Y'all will come to the Public Safety Subcommittee, right? Or do you?
let's see. Yes, in the House. Yes, the public safety. Sorry, it's judicial in the Senate.
Yeah, I'm on that subcommittee, so maybe I can steer things. you know.
Are you coming armed with chocolate?
Unofficially, if that would help, I would certainly be happy to. As long as I did not
Just a
violate
recommendation.
any laws or rules.
Any other questions or comments from committee members? Does anyone have a motion?
I'll move to pass.
We have a motion, we have a second, any discussion? With a motion and second and no discussion, all in favor, say aye. All opposed, the motion is to do pass LC 491180, House Bill 176, to the House Judiciary Committee, correct?
Correct.
All right, motion and second, all in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed? All right, the bill passes to the full House Judiciary Committee. Thanks for coming in, and while we're switching people there at the witness position, I'd like to thank Leslie Champion in Gwinnett County. She not only works as a Gwinnett County court reporter, but did a moonlighting job the Wednesday afternoon before Thanksgiving in a case at the courthouse. And those court reporters work hard, and we appreciate it, particularly with the digital option to have court reporters who are there in person and traveling. We appreciate what they do. So thanks for bringing this bill, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks. All right, we have next Representative and Floor Leader Will Wade with House Bill 91, which is more financial and a little bit less legal than court reporters, but definitely has its legal things. And yesterday was Girl Scout Day at the Capitol, and had a Girl Scout ask me, is that gold up on top of the dome real? And I told her yes, it came from Dahlonega. That's Floor Leader Wade's district. And then they talked to the majority leader a little bit later and fact-checked me and verified that that's real gold up on the dome from Dahlonega. So tell us about House Bill 91 from that you brought before us, Representative Wade.
Thank you, Chairman, and I hope that each of the members considers this a form of gold legislation. So just to honor my home district, and it's got to be gold because of the folks that have helped me work on this. For those that are not freshmen, this is a bill that I worked on last year, and so I want to make sure that everybody knows this is not a governor's bill. This is actually a leftover from last year, and so if first you don't succeed, try again. The bill is fairly simple in scope. It does two things. The first section just requires that notifications to beneficiaries has the same requirement that current notification of heirs, so that executors or executrixes are required to provide that to beneficiaries that are named. And to give you an example, if my family wanted to leave something to our church, it's not a person, so it's not an heir, but we wanted to bequeath them a certain amount of money or a certain asset, then the executor will be required just to provide notification. We worked through this last year with probate, lots of great input, and I appreciate all the help from many on the committee, and they've supported me on this, and you can see the co-sponsors. So that's pretty simple. Also worked with the credit unions and the banks for Section 2, and this just, I want to read this so that I say it correctly. This is amending the Uniform Transfer on Death Security Registration Act that we in Georgia adopted in 1999. It now adds financial institution investment accounts to the list of other security accounts that can be registered in beneficiary form. So this designates that the present owner's intention that the security passes to the beneficiary by creating a non-probate transfer. And this brings us back into competitiveness with surrounding states. Lots of states across the country have already made this change, but I want to point out to the committee, Virginia, Tennessee, Florida, and Alabama have already adopted this in their code. And I'm sorry, but none of those are going to outdo Georgia. So we've got to make sure that we get this code language changed. Everybody's supportive. Last year, we just ran out of time on sine die. It passed both houses, and I appreciate the favorable consideration. Happy to answer any questions of any of the committee members.
Thank you so much. Anybody that you brought or is
Yes,
that-
so I can say that we've got Elizabeth Chandler from Banks and Banking, and then my friend Brandy Bicknell from CBA, community banker. I'm sorry, credit unions. So many different agencies that have helped me on this. So they're here if they need to add. I'm sure they'd be happy to answer any questions as well.
And we didn't have anybody sign up to testify, so why don't we move to questions from the committee? Any questions for, oh, we do. Representative Evans.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good to see you, my
Thank
old
you.
seatmate.
Yes.
Do the probate judges or probate courts have an opinion on this legislation?
So they provided their legislative opinion last year, which is actually how we came up with this current language. And this was the exact language as final passed as a substitute on the Senate side. And the only changes that were created, to my friends in the Senate, was one of the bills that got dropped did not change banks to financial institutions. And so we corrected that, which delayed us a day. And that's really ultimately why we didn't get that fixed. So we had already fixed Section 1 to their comfort last session.
So they're good with this version?
That is correct. I've not heard anyone speak about it. And, you know, I let some of the folks that I talked to last year know, hey, I'm reintroducing this. Mm-hmm. They asked me the same bill. Yes, and I've not heard anything. So I can't say that no one is against it, but nobody's contacted me, and I don't think there's an issue.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Thanks.
Representative Silcox.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Was just curious if there was any discussion of like electronic notice versus snail mail, since the mail is so unreliable at my house.
Yeah, so there wasn't a discussion specifically surrounding that. I'm not opposed to ensuring that both options are available, but I would say that in some cases, in order for if I am an executor, for example, I think that I would want to send it via mail, and I would make the choice to send it certified so that I could document that I have sent this. And while I agree that technologically email would be a good way to do it, I would just do the above the, and so I think the option is there. But I'm not against that idea. Does that make sense?
I was just curious. I mean, the judges would probably have an opinion on that too.
Since the requirements for the executor to provide that notification, no one brought up to me whether or not notification of heirs needs to be changed. So I would say let's have that conversation if that's something that we need to do across the board as it relates to any notification requirements. But no one's made that specific request to include that.
Representative Kelly.
Yeah, and thank you, Mr. Chairman. Chair Lady Silcox, I think the rationale that as we were kind of talking through this some last year, was just make it the same as you give notice to heirs today, which doesn't allow the electronic. I think maybe we should, but that may be I think that's just how we got there.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Any other questions? All right. Thanks for the presentation. We've had a good presentation and questions. Does anyone have a motion? All right. We have a motion from our chairman to do pass LC 442171 to the House Judiciary Committee. Do we have a second? Second. All right. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed? All right. The bill
Thank you.
passes.
Appreciate it.
All right. That concludes this meeting. There will be a non-civil committee meeting at 3:30.